One thing I've noticed when studying math and trying to memorize all these formulas and techniques on how to solve problems was making my own little list of all the formulas and problem solving tips that I felt like I kept having to consistently refer back to. And so let me show you what I got here. Okay, so I'm going to show you over here. Let's go add window. Just going to say window. Okay. Let's just say okay here. Yeah. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit. So this is my own little thing. I got math formulas. I started doing it back in February, and I mean, I don't know if you can really. There we go. We got exponents, constant rules, sine rules, probability, combinations. And this blog post just grew and grew and grew. But what, and that's at overidon.com. It's like my second article down. I think I have an ASMR video and then this one after that. So just kind of let me go close that. And what happened is after first writing it, right? So I'll be writing it and then referring back to it and then referring back to it, and then let's say I get it, like I'm doing Khan Academy or something, I get a question wrong, then I might write more information. So I'll be saying, well, I kind of treat it as I'm leaving breadcrumbs for myself to get the answer right. And I think that's kind of the key to proper note-taking is notes. There's notes for other people to use, and then they get something correct or they get a problem solved, right? That's called a tutorial or a walkthrough. But notes for yourself, that's almost like a time capsule, or I guess time capsules could be for other people too, but I mean more like almost like a journal, right? And at the end of the day, notes are supposed to be there so you get your stuff right. You're doing well with it. And so really, I know there's very specific, there's like the, I guess, Oxford or Harvard note-taking systems or things like that. But my opinion is, at the end of the day, notes or whatever get you through the level of mastery that you're looking for in whatever you're doing. So really, your notes are there for yourself. If you plan on publishing your notes or something like that, you can always go back and change things or tighten it up or make it look better, type it up instead of being handwritten. But I mean, if it's for yourself, it's whatever gets you from point A to point B. And I'm a person where, even though I was good at programming stuff, I struggled with late algebra 2 / trig stuff. And ever since I made this kind of note-taking system where I kind of would add stuff. Let me give you a tidbit here, right? So I got something that's very straightforward. The area of a pyramid. I'm like, area equals volume divided by, the height times 1/3. Okay? Pretty straightforward. It's just a formula. Just plug it in. Now let's start getting to let's get to something that was a little tricky. Okay, matrix data, right? Basic matrix info. A matrix has rows and columns. A matrix that has 4 columns and 2 rows will be called a 2x4 matrix. Thus, this equals a 2 rows by 4 columns matrix. 2x4. So that means that I very clearly can say that the columns is the second number and the rows is the first number. You know, it didn't start like that. For basic matrix info, I didn't even have a basic matrix info at first because I thought it was self-explanatory. But guess what? I forgot. And the rule that's ended up starting to be a rule that I made for myself, where my rule was if I can't remember it, if it's something that would be in notes and I didn't memorize it the first time, it goes in the notes because I don't want to waste time. And now I'm doing the calculus part on Khan Academy, and the time I felt like pre-calc was harder than calc so far. And I think it's always challenging to get through, you know, learning how to study that works for you, because there's ways to study that's going to help other people. There's some people will swear by a certain technique or whatever. At the end of the day, it's whatever works for you. And for me, you know, sometimes, I'm not saying anybody else should do this, but sometimes people can draw inspiration from other people, and that's why I'm kind of hoping maybe I might inspire some people to come up with their own systems that help them study through subject matter that may be challenging. Because for me, like, just straight up hardcore math was my most challenging subject out of all the subjects. Sciencey stuff, art, literature, political science, international relations is my major that I graduated from, and you know, all that stuff comes pretty easy to me. But the hardcore math, it was you know, always tricky. And I think it's part of it is this kind of this exhaustion that happens from forging new pathways in the mind, new pathways in the brain. And you know, sometimes it hurts to really concentrate and learn something new, something really new. And the more foreign something is to someone, and you gotta like learn about it and then memorize things at it, and maybe it might be stuff that you don't want to do, that's the more exhausting it gets. And so this technique has helped me get less tired through the process. It's like one less exhaustion thing, and it's improved my pacing. And I mean, I'm actually going to just try putting this in a Word document right now, just seeing how big it is. Let's just do that together here. And let's see here. Okay, let's keep going. Biome impairment, circle, matrix data, inverse matrix, simple dilation. I'm going to put a link to this article in the YouTube description here, because I think you might like seeing all that stuff. Then remember, some of it's very abridged, and I'm using, so you know how there, like in math, there might be 1 over a square root of something else to the something power. You know, sometimes I'm just lazy and I use more of a Java style to write the information here because it's notes for myself. So I'll be like using parentheses a lot more than you would see in a formula for a book or something like that. Oh my god, this is massive. Okay, here we go. And copying this. So if the formulas don't make a lot of sense, just kind of think, hey, it's more like a 39 pages long at double spaced at 13-point font. 38 pages. How many words? Oh my god. 4,939 words. Okay, how many? Okay, how many words are in a page? How many words per page? One page is 500 words. So it's between 500 and 250, okay? But you gotta remember, I'm doing a lot of symbols, so I don't really think that counts. So let's say 4,000, but that's 5,000. Okay, let's see. 5,000, this is divided by 500. It's 10 pages. So it's more like 10 pages. 10 pages is pure formulas. It's easy read, right? Not that bad. But it felt like it was a lot in making it. Right. What was the number again? Was it 4,000? 5,000 words, yeah. Okay. So why is it saying it's 38 pages? Oh, because I was spacing. Yeah, I spaced it so I could see it better. But I guess 10 pages isn't that much to read for basically all my notes up through past pre-calc. So that's something to think about, right? That, maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's not that, doesn't take that much to actually make systems for oneself. So that's interesting. And then let's see. There was that, and then writing the notes. There's that technique, and then the other technique I have is, you know how there's a temptation to, like especially at Khan Academy, right? Sometimes there's a temptation to graph something as opposed to actually going through the mathematical process. So like you can kind of cheat some of these problems on Khan Academy where you could graph something, right? If you're good at, like, let's say you knew how to program and you could just make it so, like on a Desmos.com or your graphing calculator, where you graph it and then you kind of eyeball where the solution is. Okay. Here's why I recommend not doing that. It's far superior to use the graph as a secondary or tertiary form of checking our work, right? Now, let me explain. Actually, let's just do it right now. Okay, I'm gonna load up the window. Okay. Voila. Okay, so let's go. F of x equals x to the third. Okay, so there might be a multiple choice question where the question is, what is x to the third? What would be a question like, what is the y coordinate of you have a function, okay, assume you have a function f of x equals x to the third. What is the y coordinate of x at 1, right? What's the thing? And then so if you're good at graphing stuff, you could just say, oh, well, hey, it looks like something over here, f of x at 1, I mean, hey, it's right there. Bam, 1, 1. Now, minimize it. So you could just do that, but let's say you straight up have your pen and paper, right? X to the third f of x equals x to the third, and then what we want to know is what is y if x equals 1. What's y if x equals 1, right? And then so it's it's far superior to do it this way. So we're going to solve it. Y equals 1 to the third, right? And we know 1 to the third is just 1. So y equals 1. Okay, but then you don't stop there. Then we go into your graphing thing, and then so already we have an idea about what it is. So we go f of x equals x to the third, and then we're going through our thing, and we say, hey, wait a minute, 1, 1. You know what? I think this is a good answer. And so you use the graph in calculator or graphing tool as a way of checking your work quickly. And I say it also could be used as a tertiary way of checking work, because think about this. So we know that right? So 1 equals 1 to the third. We already figured that out. And then let's say we want to check our work, then we could just go like this. What's the cube root of 1? It's 1. Cube root of 1 is 1. I mean, if you do it that way, where you're like reversing it and then graphing it, you're going to feel really confident, and you'll be reinforcing almost the dualistic nature of any mathematical problem / solution, because almost any math problem has a way for you to check your work with a graph, or by reversing the process, and then you should be getting the question. I mean, even in the complex number theory stuff, where things started getting pretty weird, I still was able to reverse the process and find the question to the answer. And that was even with stuff that I thought was pretty confusing. It got to the point where I was like, ugh, I just want to do the answer. But then you end up doing it 4 times as long, as if checking the work seems like it's tedious sometimes, but it's actually an investment. I view it as an investment. So I'm going to put the link here to that little article, and I keep adding to it as I go. So hopefully it's helpful to you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.